Let's talk about how to find your hourly rate. Okay, to find your hourly rate, you need to know three things. Why do we need to have an hourly rate? We can price our business off margin, but at the end of the day, all the software that we use, the inputs that you put into that, you need to boil it down to an hourly rate and a material markup. That way it can calculate the price for you. So we need to take what we learned a few videos ago. If you didn't watch that video on how to find the desired margin for your business, we need to take that idea, we need to boil it down into an hourly rate. So how the hell do we do that? Well, it boils down to three things. First thing you need to know is your technician pay. Second thing you need to know is your efficiency. Third thing you need to know is your desired margin. This is gross margin on your P&L. So total income minus COGS gives you desired gross margin. In your COGS, you're gonna have tech pay and materials. We're trying to figure out how much we need to mark up our tech pay, how to turn it into an hourly rate so that we hit the desired gross margin on our P&L. These are the numbers you need to know. For technician pay, the way that I view this is I go look around and see what everybody else is paying their technician. I want to pay my guys slightly over market rate and then give them a really good commission structure, which we are not going to talk about in this video. We'll do it in another one. If you want to know about commission structure, comment commission and we'll have a whole video on our commission structure. Basically, what this boils down to, if people in my area are paying $35 for a technician, I'm going to pay 40. If they're paying 45, I'm going to pay 50. If they're paying 50, I'm going to pay 55 because I want to be able to put out an ad and attract people to my business. I want to get the best talent. This talent, even if you pay them more, if they're better employees, they will make you more money. As a percentage of how much income they bring in compared to cheaper employees, they will actually cost you less. So let's assume for all practical purposes, I'm gonna pay this guy $40 an hour. Everybody in my area is making 35, so I'm gonna pay 40 because I'm awesome like that. Efficiency. This is something you're gonna have to track over time. This is simply how many hours my guys worked versus how many hours they build out. When I track this, I track it as if everybody's working 2,000 hours. I take 2,000, I divide it by 12, and that's how many hours they work each month. I adjust for overtime in this calculation that we're about to go over. That way I don't have to go back and count how many hours the person actually worked. I just compare it to 2,000 divided by 12, and then I go see how many hours they build out. I divide the two numbers, and I get an efficiency, okay? This is gonna be a percentage. I'm gonna assume for this company, and if you don't know what this is where I would start. I would assume a 55% billable efficiency. The other thing we gotta look out for is desired margin on our P&L. Again, if you don't know what that is, go back a couple videos, watch that video. For this company, I'm gonna assume we want a 60% desired margin. This is what I usually shoot for Actually, this is what we shot for in my plumbing business. We wanted a minimum of 54% on our P&L. By shooting for 60% margin in our hourly rate calculations, it gave us a 5% buffer, and usually we got around 55, 56%. Once you know these numbers, then you can calculate your hourly rate. So how do we do that? Let's go over it. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take that $40 technician pay and we're gonna adjust it for healthcare benefits and employer taxes. So we're gonna take this number and we're gonna multiply it by 1.4. That should give you enough money for taxes, employer taxes, healthcare, and a little bit for retirement. If you're not offering benefits to your guys, you're losing out. If you can't get guys to come work for you, that's a big reason why. So let's math this out. 40 times 1.4 equals $56. So this employee, every hour, this $40 employee actually costs you $56 an hour to employ. That would be your labor burden rate. Now, what I like to do is I like to adjust this for overtime. I'm in the service industry and it's rare that my guys work just 40 hours a week. We get off at 4, call comes in at 3 for a water heater. We take that call, we go do that call, we pay the overtime on that call. So we need to account for that in our hourly rate. To do that, I take 56 times 40. That gives me their weekly pay. Actually, I take that back. 56 times 50, assuming on average they work about 50 hours a week. And then I divide that number by 40. So it gives me their true 40-hour pay rate, labor burden rate. That equals $70 an hour. So this is adjusted for overtime. That's how much they cost me every hour to pay them if I boil it down to a 40-hour work week. Next thing I do is I adjust for efficiency. We're gonna take this $70 an hour that they cost and we're gonna divide it by our efficiency. Video, we're gonna use 55%. So 70 divided by 0.55 is $127.27. So that's what it costs me every hour that they're at somebody's house. When they bill out 1 hour, it costs me $127. Some of y'all out there aren't even charging that, which is crazy. So you're losing your butt just on your labor. I did that for years. Don't let that be you. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna adjust for our margin. So we know we want a, what did we say? We want a 60% desired margin on our P&L. So we're gonna take 127.27 and we're gonna divide it by the inverse of the desired margin. So we're gonna take this to get a 60% margin, we're gonna divide by 0.4. That comes out to $318.17. Now, I like to have memberships in my company because it's a great way to hold on to customers and lower your marketing costs. One of the highest costs we have in a service business is marketing costs. And if we can have a membership program and get people to use us more times, hold on to our customers for longer, then it can help really drive down our marketing costs. So to me, this would be member price. And to get my real hourly rate, I would adjust this again based on my membership discount. So let's assume I'm gonna have a 15% discount for my members. We're gonna do the exact same thing and we're gonna adjust it for that. We're gonna divide by the inverse of this discount. So we're gonna take 318.17 and we're gonna divide by 0.85. And we're gonna get a final hourly rate of $374.31. I'd probably just make that $375. And that's what I would charge the customer. So this is what I would put in my software. My hourly rate would be $374. My member discount would be 15%. And that's assuming a desired margin of 60% on your P&L and an efficiency of 55%. I'd go put this in and I would run it for a month. And then I would get my P&L and I would go look at my desired margin. I would see if I hit 60%. I would go calculate my efficiency. I would see if I hit 55% efficiency, and then I would adjust as necessary. Let's say I hit 60% efficiency. I might leave it for a couple months. If I'm continually hitting 60% efficiency, then I would go adjust this hourly rate, which would make my price a little cheaper. And then I would go track my conversion. If I lowered my price and I made more conversions and ended up making more money because of it, I would leave it. If I tracked my conversions and I made more conversions, but I didn't make any more money, I would probably go back up. The whole goal is to find the hourly rate at which you make maximum conversions with maximum profit. That's your goal. If you're too expensive, your conversion rates will go down. There's other techniques you can do to raise your conversion rates, but for practical purposes, if you're too expensive, conversion rates will go down and you will see net profit go down as a result. Now, if you lower price too far, conversion rates will go skyrocket. If I was $10 an hour, my conversion rates would skyrocket, but I would be losing my ass on my net profit. It'd be in the negatives, right? That's probably where most of you guys are. Most people err on the side of being too cheap. They don't err on the side of being too expensive. So if you're gonna err one way or another, push that number. Honestly, if this was me and I looked at this at 374, I'd probably put 400 in my CRM and go run it for a bit and see what happened. And if I was getting decent efficiency and I was hitting margin on my P&L, I may try for a month at 375, and if I made more money, I'd leave it. If I didn't, I'd raise it back up. And I might even try to go for 425, right? It's all about making money. You're in business to make money. Go make money. Don't be afraid of charging the customer good money for your service. You're a professional. You spent years practicing your craft. You're taking an incredible risk running your business. You deserve to make good money. That's what a business is for. See you guys.